Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. My name is Śrīdāmā dāsa. I am from the south of Russia. I would like to tell you a little about myself and express my gratitude to those people who helped me establish myself in spiritual life. So my name was Sergey in the world, and I, like most of the current inhabitants of this planet, did not understand why I was in this world now and what I should do to be happy. Sorry for my English. And one day in 2013, a good friend of mine introduced me to Krishna consciousness, and I realized that this knowledge and this culture is a very thing that I have been looking for all my life and could not find. Almost on the first day of acquaintance with Krishna consciousness, I received a book, the value of which I could not fully realize it right away. It was one of the books of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, and gradually I began to study his books more and more deeply. The knowledge revealed that struck my consciousness very deeply, and I began to practice a method that helped me get rid of many of my worries and sort myself out. At first I was surrounded by people who called themselves devotees, members of the Society of Krishna Consciousness. My first impression was a little superficial. All the members of the society seemed to me holy and ideal people. I was ready to take on faith whatever they said. But a couple of months later, I met a man who also practiced the science of Krishna consciousness, and he told me interesting facts about what is really happening with the movement that calls itself the followers of Srila Prabhupada. It was hard for me to believe it right away. I idealized it a lot at the time, but out of curiosity, I decided to check the information provided to me. After a small but in-depth analysis of the historical facts that I discovered, I realized that those who are not considered saints in this moment are not really who they pretend to be. Many of the members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness still believe in this. However, their leaders do not correspond to the qualities that they should have according to the scriptures. I realized that the only person who can save me from the shackles of the illusion of this material world and give me real realized knowledge is His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. That is, he is the only guru in the International Krishna Consciousness movement today who can give us true and distorted knowledge about the soul and God, and under whose guidance we can return home to God and find eternity and bliss in a relationship with Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada left the Ritvik priests to act as representatives who conduct the initiation rite. It became clear to me like a day in cloudless sky. However, when I tried to convey this fact to other members of the society in which I found myself, I met a lot of negativity in my direction, and then it became clear to me that this information could not be accepted by most of the people I met in the organization of that Society of Krishna Consciousness. I started looking for like-minded people. There were very few of them at the time in 2013. Each of them was located in different cities of Russia and Ukraine by one person, and communication with them was mainly via the internet. I joined a small group of Russian devotees who called themselves a kind of ISKCON revival movement. ISKCON is an abbreviation from English, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. ISKCON formally is an organization that Srila Prabhupada founded in 1966. Initially, this organization was created so that people could progress spiritually by communicating in a society of like-minded people. However, after the physical departure of the founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, the movement began to degrade and the true message began to be distorted. But there were people who found out the truth and tried to restore the original essence of the Krishna consciousness movement. And so I happened to join for a while a group of people who considered themselves to be true followers of Srila Prabhupada. And they claimed that they could bring the movement back to Srila Prabhupada by spreading the truth about who the real guru in ISKCON is now and constantly criticizing these so-called gurus. And they still think that in this way they will be able to convince the mind of people who are deceived by our so-raised spiritual masters. However, these people themselves have not found much success among the current members of the organization that calls itself ISKCON. In addition, they were unable to do what Srila Prabhupada really wanted, to preach widely around the world and create new devotees. Moreover, this small group of devotees turned out to be very quarrelsome and unfriendly towards each other. There were frequent quarrels and disagreements. Often they followed certain rules just for the sake of following the rules themselves, for the sake of formalism, forgetting about the essence of Srila Prabhupada movement, the wide preaching of Krishna consciousness around the world. Also, I myself at first deeply believed that I could convince ISKCON members to accept Srila Prabhupada as their guru and reject the false ideas that had penetrated the movement. I tried to cooperate with ISKCON devotees. I went to Harinamas, tried to serve in the temple, and for the first time for a year and a half, it was in 2015, I managed to inspire the devotees of the small town in which I lived at the time to serve Krishna more often. We began to arrange meetings with them more often, kirtans, a little sermon went on, new people began to appear. But after a few months, the senior devotees found out that I accept only Srila Prabhupada as a guru. And then they received instruction from the president of the Crimean, this in Russian, Crimean temple, to stop communicating with me. All the devotees were forbidden to come to my house for kirtans, which were held every week. And so I was left alone, without the support of local devotees, and I was also not inspired by the devotees who sat in different cities of the country and did only one thing, criticizing their opponents. My soul wanted real service to Godhead, not sentimentality, indirect preaching aimed at temporary satisfaction of material feelings, or disputes for the sake of exalting oneself over others. And for a while, 2016 to 2018, I was depressed. I have not seen a society striving for the real spirit of the Krishna consciousness movement. At the same time, I continued to live among ordinary people who were deeply Maya in the ignorance of the material world, who do not know who they are and what their purpose is. People who see the purpose of life in the temporary satisfaction of feelings, leading only to repeated suffering. And my search for adequate followers of the Krishna consciousness movement led in 2019 to the ISKM organization. ISKM organization in its international Sri Krishna Mandir. I became acquainted with this organization thanks to a devotee, Nandana, whose name at the time was Vladimir, from Горячий Ключ, Krasnodar. He and his wife Mataji Yana, accepted Srila Prabhupada as a true guru in ISKCON. And they, like me, try to find like-minded people with whom they could unite in joint service. Fortunately, Mataji Yana knew English well and was able to contact Sundar Gopal Prabhu, the leader of the ISKM organization. And up to that time, I had heard various contradictory rumors about Sundar Gopal. Someone praised him for the good organization of preaching programs, and someone criticized it and accused of deviation from the instruction of Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, I did not take a deeper interest in his personality, as there were small concerns inside. But rumors are rumors, and a complete objective idea of a person can be made only by personally communicating with him, and not by listening to the opinions of others. And besides, human nature is such that we tend to make mistakes. We may mistakenly call a holy person a demon, or a demon a saint, if we do not look at a person through the prism of Shastras. So when I met Nandana and he insisted that we start communicate on Skype with Sundar Gopal Prabhu, we started to make classes with him. We asked him questions which he answered correctly, referring to the books of Srila Prabhupada. In addition to all this, I saw in his environment very enthusiastic and literate devotees who are well trained and familiar with the Shastras. As a result, I got a complete picture of ISKM organization and its leader Sundar Gopal Prabhu. It turned out that those who criticized Sundar Gopal were very wrong, drawing conclusions only on the basis of their personal ideas about what a real preacher should be. These people turned out to be very quarrelsome, proud and ignorant of all the instruction of Acharya and the founder of International Society of Krishna Consciousness. And these critics themselves cannot show any truth either in preaching or in personal qualities which should correspond to the qualities of Vaishnava described in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And unlike them, ISKM devotees have a set of Vaishnava qualities that are very inspiring for devotional service. And I realized that I had fallen into the society that I had been looking for a long time, all these years. I joined the team of this team almost 3 years ago, and I don't regret it at all, because today it is only in this organization that I see the most ardent desire to preach Krishna consciousness and the glory of the holy name all over the world. 2 years ago I received initiation through Ritvik, His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu. I got like name Śrīdāmā dāsa.
Your name is Śrīdāmā dāsa.
Ваше имя Śrīdāmā dāsa.
Śrīdāmā is actually one of the Gopas in Krishna.
Gopas?
Gopas, the cowherd boy, you know?
Один из мальчиков-пастушков.
Śrīdāmā.
All this had to be done via Skype, as due to the coronavirus there were restrictions on the movement of foreign devotees. We also held a formal ceremony in the form of a fiery yagya. I made vows thanks to which I became more confident and serious in fulfilling my sadhana. So therefore I would like to personally thank Sundar Gopal Prabhu for organizing devotees all over the world who can communicate with like-minded people and engage in devotional service to the Lord according to the instruction of our spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And I also thank all the ISKM devotees with whom I have been fortunate enough to associate and who also inspire me to devotional service to Krishna. I don't know what I will do without all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hear the holy sound, hear it all around you. Hear the holy sound. Every town